Hi guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Eva Christopher. In this channel, I create content around fashion DIYs, pattern drafting, and sewing tutorial. If these are your line of interest, please click on the subscribe button and join the family. Thank you. So in today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make a 3-piece corset. There are different ways to achieve this, but in this tutorial, we are going to learn how to achieve this using a ready-made cup. Yes, so without wasting any of your time, let's just jump right into this tutorial. To draw this pattern, you will need a ready-made cup, your pencil, your marker, your rulers, your scissors, and a duct tape. If you have a bigger duct tape, that is even better. So we'll start by drafting a basic bodice pattern. This will not be a detailed tutorial on a basic bodice pattern. I have videos on that, on how to do that on my channel. Please click to watch. So for the neckline, I took 3 inches depth and 3 inches width. Now I'm going to get my shoulder measurement, which is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. And from that 7.5, I came down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. So to get your armhole depth, you have to divide your bust measurement by 6 plus 1.5. Your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. I'm going to extend this line and then get my vertical measurements. So from my shoulder to 10.5 is the bust point I'm working with. Also leaving my tape at the shoulder line, I'm going to come down by 14 inches, that is the under bust I'm working with. And then 16 inches is the half length I'm working with. Then the length of the top that I'm working with. So now I'm going to go ahead to extend these lines. After extending these lines, go ahead and label the lines. That's my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, and then the top length. To get at that line, we are going to divide our bust span by 2. The bust span I'm working with is 8. 8 divided by 2, we have 4, so I'm taking 4 from my bust point down to the length of my top. Now the next thing for me to do is to curve my armhole. And to do this, I found the midpoint of my arm length and came in there by half an inch, just like we do in every bodice. So I just took my bust measurement and I got my arm curve. So I'm taking my body measurement, my bust measurement, and my under bust circumference. That is my under bust, the round measurement of my under bust. I'm also going to do the same for the waistline and also for the length of my top. The round measurement of wherever my top is going to end is not going to be the full hip measurement, unless your top is going to end at your full hip. For the dart, I'm going to take a regular dart measurement, that is half an inch from my waist on both sides of my waistline. And then from my under bust, because I'm using a ready-made cup, from my under bust, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. If you're making use of a ready-made cup, please come up 1 inch from your under bust line. And then I'm going to connect these lines. The 1 inch I came up from my under bust line, I connected it to the half inch I took from both sides. And also at the length of my top, I'm going to take half an inch on both sides. And then I'm going to connect my darts. Now my cup is going to start from the 1 inch I came up from my under bust. And when you're trying to draw out your cup, please do not apply pressure on the cup. Don't press it down, just leave it like that. So leaving my cup at the 1 inch that I came up with, I'm going to go in by half an inch from my center front, as you can see me doing. That is where my cup stops. This will be the distance between one cup and the other. So now gently draw out your cup curve. Do not press down on it. So when I'm done with that, I'm just going to add my body allowance, my sewing allowance. So at the under bust, I also added my sewing allowance, and I'm going to measure the dart there. I'm going to replace it. Also at the waistline, I'm going to replace the dart plus my sewing allowance. I'll also do the same for the hip side. Now I'm going to connect these lines. I also connect my cup to the armhole and to the 1/2 inch I came in from. And I'm going to cut out this pattern. This is basically all for the front pattern. Now I'm going to use this pattern to draft my back pattern. It would have been easier if I didn't cut out the darts before I used it to trace out my back panel, but I've done that already. If you're drafting yours, no need to cut out the dart in front before you trace out your back, because we use 1/2 inch for the front. It's a basic dart, so it's also the same we will use for the back. So instead of going through all this stress I went through, just trace out your front, your back using your front panel before you can cut out the darts. So I just traced out the sides and then the depth of my back. I'm going to connect it. You can decide to leave this like this, or you can decide to come as low as you want. For me, I just came down 1 inch lower and then I connected my lines. So the next thing to do now is to get the darts, those darts that I cut out in front. I'm going to put them at the back. I'm taking 4 inches from my center back, which is my bust span measurement divided by 2. And just like the front, I'm just going to take 1/2 inch on both sides of my line and then connect this. Now this pattern will not have zip, it will have a loop, so I came in by 2 inches. I'll cut out the 2 inches and also label my panels, my center back and my side back. This is basically all for my back patterns. So these are my back patterns and my front patterns. Don't forget to label. This is me labeling my center front and my side front. So when I'm done with this, the next thing is to work on our cup. To create our 3-piece cup, we need the duct tape and of course a ready-made cup. If you have a bigger duct tape, even better. So you see how I'm placing my duct tape? I'm placing it vertically, not horizontally. That is from up to down. I'm not placing it from side to side. I'm placing it from up to down. Then I'll cut off the excess. I'll place from up to down. Make sure you don't have any gap, any gaping. Make sure the tape is well relaxed at the cup. I'm sorry if it's not really coming out fully, but you understand what I'm doing. So you go ahead to do this until you feel all the cup. As you can see, now trim off the excesses. Please make sure you're not using your fabric scissors to cut out the excess of this duct tape because it's really gummy, okay? Just take your time and cut out all the excesses, and when you're done, you're just going to have like a normal cup. Now to get our 3-piece, I'm going to come down by the side, 2 inches by the side. As I'm doing, I'm going to mark that. From the other side, I'm going to take 2 inches. Then at the middle of the cup, I'm going to take 2.5 inches. Now I'm going to connect these lines together. And to get my down part of the cup, I'm going to measure from one side of the cup to the other side. I have 8. That means the middle is 4 inches. So I'm going to connect this from there down. To be sure you got your line correctly at the bottom, please join your cup together and find the midpoint of your cup. As you can see, mine wasn't very correct, so I had to correct it like so. So the next thing to do now is to peel this thing out from our cup. You have to gently pull this thing out away from your cup. Make sure as you're peeling, no tape is pulling off from each other. That is when you're putting your tape you're putting them on top of each other, so that when you're pulling, you won't have any tape that is separate from each other. So as you can see, I've pulled out mine and all of them are together. So this basically are 3-piece, as you can see. The next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut out these pieces. Please, before you cut out your cup, don't forget to label. Very important. As you can see, the down parts are quite identical. So if you don't label them, you're going to mix them up. So you label 1, you label 2, you label 3. And you also use arrows to identify which is front. And you also use arrows to identify which part of number 3 is to be joined to number 2, as you can see me do. So I've used my pieces to cut out on my fabric, but I'm so sorry I didn't make a tutorial on how I made this top, but I have a similar tutorial on how to create a 3-piece corset top on my channel. You can click and watch, or I'll put the link on my description box for you to watch how I made a 3-piece corset top. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you understand this tutorial. If you do not understand and you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you.